and welcome to Under SF, the show where we shine a light on the amazing local neighborhoods within San Francisco. I'm Erica Cadaret.
And I'm Cameron Davis. On this episode, we'll be focusing on one of the most underappreciated neighborhoods in San Francisco. I'm talking about the amazing Sunset District.
Today, we'll see what a day in the life of a Sunset resident is like, have a taste of some locally brewed coffee, and get a sense of the sounds of Sunset with our live musical guest. But before we get to any of that, we have to let you know how the Sunset got its start.
The Sunset was known by many as the place where the sun would go down and rest at night after a long day at work, lighting up the sky. The general population of San Francisco thought it was important for the sun to be able to rest during the night so it could comfortably do its job in the morning.
Wow, that's an interesting story, Cameron, but I don't think that's exactly how the Sunset got its start.
I could have sworn I read that in a book somewhere. Or maybe my mom told me about it once. Do you know anything about the history of the Sunset?
As a matter of fact, I do. The Sunset remained an untouched region of San Francisco until it was developed in 1866. The district was once referred to as the outside lands of San Francisco. The area was covered by sand dunes, had very few roads, and no public transportation. This made the Sunset difficult to get around and not an ideal place to live in. However, many poor families did live in what would now be considered Outer Sunset. That area was widely known as Carville. The spot gained its nickname because the families who lived there would repurpose abandoned horse-drawn rail cars and turn them into homes, shops, and even a coffee saloon.
Wow. Proof that there was once an affordable place to live in San Francisco.
Today, the Sunset has developed into the largest district in San Francisco. Many people from a wide variety of ethnic backgrounds come for the district's affordable housing and laid-back atmosphere. The location is close to schools such as SF State and UCSF, which makes it ideal for college students. It's far enough away from the hustle and bustle of city life, while still being a bus ride away from downtown San Francisco.
For our show, we wanted to get a real sense of what the Sunset District is like for locals. To do that, I was ready to leave my old life behind. I planned to implant myself into the neighborhood with a group of actors playing the part of my pretend family. We created new identities and forged passports for everyone. I would become Cool Breeze Cameron, a professional trumpet soloist and wine expert. All the pieces were set for me to infiltrate the Sunset community.
Until we decided that it'd be much easier and legal to simply interview a local resident from the Sunset. We caught up with Johnny Randolph to get his perspective on what makes the Sunset so special.
My name's Johnny Randolph, and I've lived in the Sunset District of San Francisco for a little bit over 5 years now. 16, I lived in the middle of the state in North Carolina, and I would drive to the beach. Got my own surfboard a couple of years later and started doing it more. You know, the water's colder, so it takes I think a different kind of person to want to live here and surf here. When I get in the ocean, I like to just go diving, snorkeling, that sort of thing. Well, when I moved to San Francisco, I didn't want to own a car. I want to be able to get around and be close to the ocean so I can ride a bike or take a train. Like west of Sunset Avenue, it's really easy to walk to the beach. You don't have to get in a car, you just leave your house and walk and then you're on the beach. And there's a lot of natural area on the western side of San Francisco too, so you have everything from Fort Funston up to Land's End and all these different parks and spaces that don't make you feel as much like you're in a city. I'd say my favorite's probably Land's End, but I don't go there that often. I spend a lot of time in Golden Gate Park with my friend's dog a lot, and then just I'll ride my bike and just find a spot to hang out there if it's a nice day. There's a couple of spots to skate around here too, so I'll mess around and do that. I have a friend that has a dog, so I'll walk the dog for her while she's at work, that sort of thing. It's a little bit more blue collar than a lot of the rest of San Francisco. A lot of folks that work, whether it's construction or electrical workers, but you do notice quite a bit of that. There's a lot of different creative types from painters to woodworkers, metalworkers, all sorts of different stuff too. A lot of the work you can kind of tell is influenced by their love for the ocean. There aren't that many chains out here. There's the occasional drugstore, things like that, but there's a lot of independent businesses. They're run by a group of friends maybe that share a space, like the wood shop on Noriega. Those guys have a really cool space, and one guy builds mostly furniture and one guy builds mostly surfboards. But they share the space and they do some really, really cool stuff. And most of the businesses, whether it's a coffee shop that's opened by someone that did it with their own money, or a couple that just jumped into it, and that sort of thing. The restaurants too, you just don't see a lot of chains. And with the growth in the past 5 years, probably like since I moved here, it's really just kind of seemed like it was starting then. All these little retail spots are being filled with cool shops, and it's not just another version of something like a chain. And then it just feels a little bit more like a neighborhood than a lot of other parts of the city. And just knowing people that you live around is pretty important to me.
Wow, living near a beautiful beach, and big parks, in an easygoing neighborhood. I think I could get used to being Cool Breeze Cameron.
When we return, we'll be joined by a very special guest with a demonstration you won't want to miss. This is Under SF, and we'll be right back.
Before City Car Share, we were spending a lot of money on gas and insurance. I felt like I had to check my bank account every time I went driving.
City Car Share is great because the membership includes insurance and a gas card. I don't even know why we owned a car in the Bay Area.
Now we just have more money to spend on other things.
City Car Share is an important part of our lives.
City Car Share gives you the benefits of using a car
without the hassles of owning one.
Even common daily routines can make important changes. Changes like higher wages, better living, and justice. Sometimes it's just a matter of making the right choice. Fair trade certified coffees are bought directly from family farmers, guaranteeing them better incomes and strengthening their communities. Fair trade certified. Taste fairness. Look for the label wherever you buy coffee.
Welcome back to Under SF. I'm Cameron Davis, and today we're talking all about the largest district in San Francisco, the beautiful Sunset District. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm an absolute addict for coffee. I've had my personalized Starbucks Gold Rewards card since 2008, and I make sure to stop by at least twice a day. If I had to pick, my absolute favorite drink would have to be a venti non-fat iced triple shot caramel macchiato. I feel like I know just about everything there is about coffee, but today we've got a guest that's an even bigger expert than me. Today in the studio, we have Robbie Julian, a coffee connoisseur and professional barista. Robbie, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, I got one question real quick. This pumpkin spice thing, is this a trend or is it gonna stay?
It's been around for a while and I think it's here to stay. It sells really well.
That sounds terrible. Okay, now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history in the industry?
Yeah, so I've worked in coffee for 2 years. Started at one of the bigger coffee companies and left fairly quickly. There's a little too much of robotics going on. And started working in specialty coffee. I'm now certified by the Specialty Coffee Association of America. And am also certified by like our roastery as well.
Okay, so tell me how you feel about these big corporate companies like Starbucks and how they're affecting these specialty coffee shops like you've mentioned earlier.
It's kind of like asking if you like McDonald's versus like your mom and pop burger shack.
Okay.
So it's just good old capitalism.
Very understandable. All right, well now let me ask you, are there any misconceptions that people tend to have about coffee that you maybe want to educate them on?
I think one of the things we get the most is probably people expecting espresso to be espresso beans, and those don't exist. You can make espresso with any coffee.
The bean doesn't matter. It's espresso is espresso.
Yep, espresso is espresso.
Okay. Now here's a thing that's been really popular lately, latte art. I've been seeing it on social media. It's all over the place. We even have shops who host latte art competitions between baristas. Now, how do you feel about the competition and the popularity that's been going on with latte art?
Competitions are fun. I've done a few. We definitely try and give you pretty art scientifically. Latte art has been proven to make people think their coffee tastes better.
Just think.
Just think. I mean, it could, but you could have a bad barista that's good at latte art, and you can have a good barista that's bad at latte art. So yeah, it's definitely one of the things that's picking up more notoriety.
All right. So I understand you have a coffee making demonstration lined up for us today. Now, my question is, do you think you can make anything half as good as a triple shot caramel macchiato?
I think I can. I'm going to try.
All right, I'd love to see it. Now, can you tell us what brewing method you're going to use right now?
Yeah, so today we're using a V60, which is just one of your standard pour overs. It's a little bit more difficult to really master in, but once you get it going, it makes some of the best coffee you can have.
So how do we start a pour over?
So we're going to start with boiling our water. You want your water to be between 195 and 205.
That's prime temperature.
Prime temp. So right around like 200 degrees. You're going to want to let it set for like 10, 15 seconds after a boil. You can start by getting your filter and your cone.
Right.
And then we're going to let that boil a little bit longer.
Okay.
And
tell me, your beans, what's your favorite place to get your coffee beans from?
Right now in San Francisco, there's a roastery out of the Sunset called Andytown. Mm-hmm. They're doing probably the best for coffee in SF. So
interesting.
That's definitely where
Is
to
that
go.
your professional opinion?
Professional opinion, yes. Lauren and Michael are great people, but they're also killing it with their coffee.
Interesting. All right.
So we're going to wet the filter first, get rid of all those fibers, and also just like preheat the cone and the container at the bottom, our beehive.
This little glass, that's the cone.
This is the cone. This is our beehive.
Okay.
That's just a decanter. Keeps the coffee hot. We're going to dump that water.
That was purely for the filter.
That was just for the filter. Never going to touch that again. It's dirty now. And then we're going to take our ground coffee. You want to grind your coffee within 15 minutes of brewing. You don't want pre-ground coffee.
What is a good size to grind your coffee down to?
It depends. There's variations. So an espresso grind is going to be a lot finer. French press is going to be a little bit more coarse. With pour overs, you want it to be right in the middle. You want to aim for like a 2-minute brew time. So that's when you start dialing in your grind, is trying to hit that mark.
Gotcha.
And so we're going to dump.
Coffee is dumped.
Flatten out. Make sure it's all even. Also, shaking brings the coarser grinds up to the top, fines to the bottom.
Okay.
Gives you an more even extraction. And we're going to do our bloom. So bloom is a very small pour that you'd use to get rid of all the gases that are stored in the beans.
Like what kind of gases?
It's just like from the roasting process, so it's just CO2 for the most part.
Okay.
But coffee just tends to collect those. So we're going to keep that going, and we're waiting about 30 seconds, and then we're going to start our first pour, which is going to just be right halfway up the cone, a couple inches, and you want to go real slow with it.
Yeah, you're very elegant with your pour there.
Yeah, I've been doing these for quite some time now. At first, you're not going to be so relaxed. It's going to be kind of all over the place. I've seen people dump. I've seen people dump like whole kettles onto their. It's just it's definitely something you learn. So we're gonna let that drain through, and then we're gonna get a second pour going on it. We're using 20 grams of coffee. We're gonna be doing about 195 grams or 295 grams of water.
Okay.
I can eyeball it. Some people like using scales. It just depends on how long you've been doing this, I guess.
Definitely your experience is showing right now.
But yeah, I mean, coffee is a very interactive and almost ritualistic, and we are out of water, so we should be good there.
All right. So now, while this is happening, while it's brewing, what do you like to do? Do you like go on Facebook or maybe like snap a selfie for Instagram?
When I'm working, I'll usually be multitasking, so I'll get a couple pour overs going for customers, maybe make some espresso drinks, maybe ring someone up.
So you're actually like a hard worker and a good employee.
Yeah, it's when you're running a coffee shop, you kind of have to. But when I'm at home and just hanging out, I'll usually be making breakfast with my roommates, or, you know, maybe hop onto Facebook and stop paying attention for a second.
Gotcha. Do you have some kind of like chant or mantra that you say when the coffee is supposed to be ready so that, you know, you make sure it comes out good?
No, I've never heard of anyone saying
No?
that though. But
Interesting.
usually we tend to just yell at a customer as loud as we can so they actually come and get their coffee. So that is done brewing.
Okay.
We're gonna take it, gonna swirl it up a bit. Coffee extracts in layers, so you definitely want to mix those up. Gonna serve,
Let me get some of that.
and there you go.
That is way too hot for me to try right now, but I'm gonna give it a little whiff. All right, well, Robbie, I think after smelling that alone, I can definitely say this is better than a triple shot caramel macchiato. Okay, guys, thank you for coming by the studio. You are the best, Robbie. And we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but when we return, we'll have a live performance from a local Sunset musician that you'll need to hear to believe. This is Under SF, and we'll be right back.
Boy, I'm tired. I cannot believe what I've been through today. When I went to the prenatal clinic, it was raining. I had to walk a long way. People were rude to me. The buses were late. It was really hard getting to the prenatal clinic today. But it's okay. I've been doing this for me and my baby.
Free or low-cost prenatal care is available for you. Call 1-800-300-9950.
Small businesses are facing expensive energy bills. Much of this expense is generated from lighting. In fact, inefficient lighting can cost small business owners more than they may realize. Don't let your lights burn more than electricity. Let smart lights help you save money, and let the money work for you, not your energy bills. Smart lights, brighten your bottom line. A joint program of the cities of Berkeley and Oakland.
Welcome back to Under SF. Earlier in the show, we've spent our time showing you the Sunset District of San Francisco, but I think it's about time for us to listen to the sunset instead. Joining us here in the studio, please give a warm welcome for Bobby. Hey, so thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah,
and can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what it is exactly you do?
Definitely. Well, my name is actually Erica too, and I play music using this old Windows 95 computer. I don't know if you guys can see it on the cameras, but.
Okay, how would you describe your music using only nouns?
Definitely yellow card cover band.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit more about loop-based music and what was it about that style that attracted you?
Yeah, so basically I pre-record everything at home, so that way there's no way I can mess up because it's all already done for me. So I just go up and I mime playing guitar, so that way.
Mime the guitar. So if I was to imagine your biggest fan, what would they look like?
If you were going to imagine them, well, I can only guess, but I would say that you would imagine that they would be 5'7", muscular, and definitely very funny.
Okay. Do you feel the sunset has influenced your music in any way?
Definitely. I actually used to go by the name Mr. Sunset and the Sunset Brothers Band. But
Mr. Sunset.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a title.
Well, it sounds like you're destined for success. If your songs were licensed by major corporations, what retail stores would you like to hear your music in?
Walmart and probably...
Walmart, cheap stuff there. Where else?
Oh, no,
they got
only
good
Walmart.
Deals. They got
Walmart
really good
exclusively.
deals. So you have your guitar on you. Would you mind playing something for us?
Only if I can get my best friend in the world to bring over my microphone.
Okay, well, without further ado, please put your hands together for Bobby.
Thanks, bud.
Check, check. Hey, everybody. Mr. Sunset and Sunset. This song's called Sunset,. 'Cause 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 ' you.
makes me just want to sit on a hill and watch the sunset. Get it? So thank you so much for joining us again. And be sure to check him out at soundcloud.com/Bobby-1. And that's all the time we have for this week. I'd like to thank all of our guests and Cool Breeze Cameron for being a fantastic co-host. I'm Erica Catteray, and be sure to join us again next week to find out what's really going on under SF.